buckle up, because it's going to be a long ride. It's going to be a wild ride. Nobody cares, but we're going to tell you anyways. This is Popcorn Chats. Or...
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Popcorn Chats. I'm Katie.
And I'm MICHAE.
Thank you so much for tuning in to listen to our episode covering the finale of House of the Dragon. Oh my god, bitch. Shook to the core. So happy to be here talking about this today. Without further ado, I think we're just going to get into it because we have some kitty cat issues. I don't know if we need to do a check-in, or do you want to do a check-in?
I don't really have anything to check in on about, except Arya now seems to have bathroom issues, and I'm like, I swear to God, if I have to spend another 6 hours in an emergency vet clinic tonight, I'm actually going to lose my mind. So, fingers crossed. I literally had to drive shit across town to drop it off at the vet so they can send out her sample. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, well, it needs to be fresh. And I'm like, this is literally as fresh as it comes. I just heard it exit her booty hole. Like,
oh my God.
Fresh. It's like steaming up the bag. Like, it's fresh.
Prayers and manifestations for that. Yeah, I don't really have much to check in on either. Yeah, I'm chilling. The premiere is this weekend. If you're in LA, come and watch the Stoker Street premiere. 4220 Sunset Boulevard in Silver Lake. Starts at 7, goes all night. There's going to be lots of showings of the film that I worked on. So yeah, come see it. Thank you so much. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it, bitch. Sorry, I'm also trying not to chew into the microphone just as I have I was hoping to have dinner. I was like, okay, I'm literally going to cook dinner as soon as I'm done with work so that way I can eat before we record. And then I had to run shit across town.
I fucking can't. I'm keeping that voice message that you sent me earlier for fucking ever.
Being a mother is hard work. Being a single mom is hard, okay?
She's a single mom of 2 out here just trying to make it. You are literally a single mom who works 2 jobs.
I quite literally am.
And
loves her kids and never stops.
With gentle hands and the heart of a fighter.
I'm a survivor.
I was like, is she gonna say it or no? Who is your standout star?
Rhaenyra, bitch. As it should be. I mean, in this episode, there were a lot of great performances, but truly, honestly, wholeheartedly, if Emma Darcy does not get nominated for their role this whole season, Injustice. Mm-hmm. Incredible. Everything about Rhaenyra in this episode was amazing. Mm-hmm. I love Rhaenyra so much. Ugh.
Yes, I loved the performance in this. I love the character of Rhaenyra in this. I have to agree with you, Rhaenyra. I mean, obviously, the episode is called The Black Queens, so, like, of course, it was her shining moment, as was this whole season, but truly, I mean, this episode just, like, reminded us who is that bitch, and it is her.
Mm-hmm. She is that bitch. It was a religious experience watching her. And then my standout scene was the scene when Sir Eric came and brought Viserys' crown, and then he gave it to Daemon, and Daemon crowned her, and it was just like such a natural moment for her to be crowned. It wasn't like they weren't forcing people to come and watch, they weren't forcing people to bend the knee, they weren't forcing people to cheer for her. It was people there who were dedicated to her, seeing that moment of her be crowned, and like looking around and seeing all the people. Dorian, stop being a fucking asshole to her. He's like chasing her around. And if she's not feeling good, I don't want him fucking with her. It was just amazing. I had so many chills. The score in it was beautiful. The cinematography was beautiful. Everything about that scene was quite literally perfection.
That was also my standout scene. I got full body chills, and it was reminiscent of Dany's kind of epic moments in the original Game of Thrones when, like you're talking about, there's this natural, like, response to what she's doing, and people, like, bend the knee or, like, choose to follow and support her rather than, like you said, being forced to. And I just love Sir Eric as a character, and I think that is so interesting. From what happened, like, last episode with him and the other Eric, like, being twins, but then splitting up on whose, side that they're on. I think that's a really interesting character choice, and I love that. Daemon being the one to put it on her head is like, hell yeah.
Crown your queen, bitch. Well, so pretty much right away we jump into Rhaenys arriving and letting them know that Viserys is dead. I just absolutely love that Daemon immediately jumps to, the Greens murdered my brother. Like, sir, your brother was rotting away. He was quite literally a walking corpse.
That was wild. That was, like, very unnecessary, because then he didn't, like, cling to that narrative.
I thought it was kind of funny. Because it's just like, yeah, of course you're going to jump to, I mean, like, fair. You you hate them, so you want to have like a reason to be like, oh look, they killed him, but it's like he quite literally had half of a face. So
yeah,
I don't know what you expected.
He was on his deathbed for sure. Yeah, their reaction to the news is interesting. I forgot they didn't know for a second, and then when they were presented with that news, that's like a hard hitter. But I felt like Rhaenyra's reaction to the fact that like Alicent betrayed her, because you know the last interaction they had was seemingly genuine, and I think Rhaenyra was feeling really good about kind of rekindling that connection between them. It sucks to see her heartbreak kind of in that moment when she realizes what Alicent did, because she of all people knew how much that meant to her and how much that would hurt her, like seeing the masses acknowledge somebody else's claim to the throne. The only two people who probably like really understand that are her and Daemon. So you can definitely tell that hurt a lot when Rhaenyra found that out, what Alicent did.
Well, and especially that they did it before even letting them know that Viserys had passed, which obviously it's like they did that so that way she wouldn't have time to come back, but for her to find that out and then also find that out stacked on top of it, it's a lot.
Also, it's weird to me that like everybody finds out that Viserys is dead, but they keep calling her princess. People should have been saying queen right away.
Oh, I don't think I noticed that. I only noticed it like after she was crowned when anyone would refer to her as princess, but I don't think I noticed it before she was crowned.
I noticed it when she was giving birth, which we'll talk about this scene, but like she kept being referred to as princess, and I was expecting her to be like, I'm the queen or something at some point when she was giving birth, and I would have been like, bad bitch alert. It's fine that didn't happen. It shows how symbolic the actual crowning and anointing of someone in front of the masses is. She's already coming from behind, being a woman and like all these other things, but like the fact that she missed out on that anointing like under the seven, that image and action means so much to people. She definitely has that playing against her, even though it shouldn't matter. But at least then she knows that the people that choose to follow her are like genuinely in support of her and her endeavors, I guess.
Agreed. She's got real ones on her side, hopefully. So we have her giving birth for the second time that we've seen. The fourth, kind of traumatic. I guess like third traumatic. Her first one wasn't that traumatic, so it was more like the walk after. But like we've had just women having bad experiences having babies on this show. And to watch her in all of that pain and then jump cutting to seeing her dragon, Syrax, I think that's Syrax, screaming, just shows the bond between like the rider and dragon and like how in tune they are with each other. That obviously I think plays out farther like at the end of the episode that we'll get into. But I really loved that cut, the way that was shot, cut back and forth between her and her dragon.
Yeah, it was a good choice, I thought, as well. Yeah, I would be so scared to get pregnant back in the day, or like obviously this isn't back in the day, but it emulates like what it would have been like to have kids in like the Middle Ages, or not even that long ago, really. She's had a lot of kids. Too many kids. Daemon has gotten so many women pregnant. Well, just two that we know of. He's fathered a lot of children, and it's just like he doesn't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to split himself open for that.
What did you think of him not being with her?
I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts about Daemon in this episode. I'm more interested to hear your thoughts about it because I know that you really appreciate him and have thoughts about him. So I want to like hear what you thought about him in this episode.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about him. For this scene, I'll keep to like this scene in particular for now. I am not surprised that he was not with her. We typically see the women like having children by themselves already. We saw Emma, like Viserys was there, but he was on the perimeter. When Laena was giving birth, Daemon was kind of on the perimeter as well, only when the decision needed to be made regarding like what they were gonna do. So I'm not surprised that he wasn't with her. He's not like a romantic person. So like I know some people were like mad that he like wasn't there to be by her side, and it's like that's not who he is, so I didn't expect him to be. Also, after finding out about Aegon being crowned and Viserys dying, like obviously yes, his wife is in labor, but also like so many other pressing matters are on the table that I think to him it's like, she's had 5 kids, let her go have this one. She's gonna do her job right now. I'm gonna do this in kind of her place. I do also think it was selfish. Like he was angry and he was ready to fight. Maybe this is like giving him so much of the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he was just so traumatized from Lena's birth that he didn't want to be there to see her in pain. I really don't think that's the case. I think he was just angry and ready to go to battle. Like, I do genuinely think that he loves her. I just think there are other things that he also loves, and comforting his wife in labor is not high on his priority list. Like, he's not that type of, it's not that kind of love, you know?
Absolutely. I think it would be ridiculous if like every character satisfied like I don't know, like there's no such thing as a perfect character. And I think Damon, like you said, he's operating within what is like characteristic of him. So
well, he's literally a morally gray character. He's like not a good guy. Like we saw him literally murder his first wife. Like we've seen him do these horrible things, but he has redeemable qualities. So this was just another thing where it's like, if I was Rhaenyra, I would be like, excuse me, please come like hold my hand. But that's not like who he is. So I don't think it felt out of line for his character, as I don't think any of his actions felt out of line of his character in this entire episode. But that's getting a little ahead of it. He's going to do bad things. He's going to do good things, but he's also going to do bad things.
It's not like he has been changed. Like you know, I mean, he's probably evolved and progressed. Like many years have passed since we were first introduced to him, but it's not like Rhaenyra is changing him. Maybe making him a little bit softer, but like not really. The birthing scene, her doing it all herself, like she is just the embodiment of strength. It was definitely like a crazy moment. The fact that has like a full, and this is like a trigger warning, I guess, too, if you're sensitive to like birthing issues, but she has like a miscarriage, and then it's like having to deal with everything else happening in this episode. It's just like, what the fuck? She is literally like still wearing the dress that she just gave birth in, and is like figuring out what to do next with her situation, like regarding the 7 kingdoms. Like, holy shit. Women are amazing.
We are the fucking best.
I also did think it was sweet that like Damon was taking the miscarriage hard, and he was really sad about it, you know, like that shows again just how like gray this character is. Like he was, just because he wasn't present for the birth doesn't mean he didn't care. And I think it was good to see that moment that he was having on the beach where he was just like, God damn it.
I know. I really liked that shot of him going out there and having his own moment to mourn, because he's not going to mourn in front of anyone else. Right. Not even in front of Rhaenyra. Like, I don't even think that they have that kind of vulnerability with each other in that way. Or at least he doesn't have that with her. But I liked that we still got to see it.
Yes. I agree.
I also love Rhaenys making the decision before we get to like Corlys and all of them and like the crowning scene and everything. But like at the beginning, first of all, when she showed up, and then when they have that conversation about how she's kind of ready to like, or not ready to move past her anger, but that she's willing to look past what happened with Laenor, even though she thinks that like obviously Rhaenyra and Daemon had something to do with killing her son, even though we know that Laenor is off with his boo, but that she's willing to fight by her side and support her and kind of look past all of that, because she knows that Rhaenyra is going to need all the support that she can get moving forward.
Yeah, I think Rhaenys is super interesting in this episode to watch. At the beginning, I did like that Daemon was like, why the fuck did you not burn all of them? Because that was definitely a question that we were having last week. Like, damn, she had all that potential to just end this shit here. But I liked her explanation of being like, there's definitely going to be some sort of conflict, and I don't want to be the one to start it.
Makes total sense. The women have 1000%. The most restraint on this show.
Yes.
Anyone.
And it's good that she had that moment. Like, she clearly values restraint, and then that's what she sees in Rhaenyra, and that is what like influences her to then advocate for her to Corlys. So it's all just so good. Again, it's like paying attention to detail and knowing your characters well is just gonna make the story so much richer. And I love that about Game of Thrones. How did you feel about her not bowing? She was the only one who didn't bow. In both of our standout scene, she did not bend the knee.
Yeah, I didn't mind because I think she still in that moment was not totally on Rhaenyra's side of like that she was going to fight this war with her. I think she needed to talk to Corlys and kind of get where his head was at before they made a decision as a couple together.
Mhm.
So I think in that moment it was fine because you still knew that she respected Rhaenyra getting the crown, or at least in my head, from the way that I'm viewing it, I see it as she respects Rhaenyra's claim and does look at her as a queen, but I don't know if she's looking at her right now as someone that she is going to be an ally with, or if she's like, okay, you're queen now, Aegon's king over there, y'all battle it out, I'm off to retire. Where I think later on in the episode, then when her and Corlys, you know, make the decision that they're going to stay and fight, then I think she I think maybe she would have bent the knee, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Yeah.
How did you interpret that?
I mean, I thought it would have been cool if she did bend the knee, but again, it's like, I don't think the character would do that in that moment in time because she did make it clear that she was not going to make any decisions for Driftmark and like all of those people without Corlys. So it would be kind of contradictory for her to say that and then bend the knee. So,
and I liked that in that moment, Daemon and Rhaenyra weren't like, well, you better bend the knee or else you're not leaving this like little rock alive. Like how Otto was. He's like, you either bend the knee right now in this room or you're getting hung. And granted, Daemon does threaten 2 knights, either the next scene later or even the scene before that with a dragon. However, that's more justified, I feel like, because they are men under the King's Guard, and the King's Guard and King's Landing have bent the knee to Aegon. So that I feel like is justified, where like Rhaenys, you knew that she didn't like bend the knee to Aegon and come here. So I feel like that's
interesting though. I forgot about that scene with the dragon and Daemon.
Again, I don't know. I liked that. I liked that scene. I like the control that, not the control, it's the bond that Daemon has with his dragon, and that I think that Aemond severely overestimated his bond. Like, I think he thinks that he has more of a Daemon type relationship with Vhagar than he actually does. Makes sense. Like, Daemon knew that when his dragon's coming out there. Same with Rhaenyra and her dragon. Like, she can land on that bridge there and know that her dragon isn't going to act out. But do you actually know? I liked that scene, though, with Daemon. And just because I think Daemon's dragon looks so fucking cool.
Yeah, I love how each of the dragons are distinct and, like, based on kind of their personality of the person that is connected with them. I love the moment, another, like, not my official standout scene, but another scene that stands out is when the board lights up with the fire underneath it. I just think that's so dope. I want that set piece. That's like my dream dining room table someday.
Oh my God.
You'd be like, hey, imagine? HBO, can I get that? That's what I want. I invite people over and it just turns on, like having a dinner party and it just like lights up. That'd be so sick.
It keeps all your food nice and toasty on the table before you eat it. Yes. I saw people joking because that's the same table that Stannis was using, in like original Game of Thrones, them being like, oh, if only he knew that it like lit up, and people are like, oh, he was too preoccupied with banging Melisandre on it. And I was like, oh.
Good memories.
Yeah.
And I also like how Rhaenyra invites the other women up to the table, like the other women in the room. She wants like her, God, I don't even fucking know what they would be at this point. Her second cousins, I don't.
Her stepkids? Because they're Daemon's daughters.
Her stepkids.
Anyways.
Yeah, she invites them up and Rhaenys and everything, and I just think that's dope. Women lifting up other women.
Well, that's the difference. You see Rhaenyra doing that, and then you see Alicent surrounded by all men, not trying to make any woman feel more included. Only other interactions we've seen Alicent having with other women is when she's like paying them off because her son assaulted them. She's not trying to like protect women, bring women to the table, value their voices.
Yeah.
Whatever. Garbage.
She's a misogynistic woman.
She is. But the strength of Rhaenyra holding back and not starting war immediately just shows the kind of character that she is now after the end of this episode. Any and all crimes she commits, fully support. But she tried. Yes. She tried. She was showing restraint. She did. And she's showing the logic that is needed in the room full of all of these like hot-headed men telling her she needs to attack, she needs to do this, she needs to do that. And she's like, I'm not doing anything right now. She's like, I'm not going to be the one to start this. And without her doing that, without Rhaenys not burning the greens right there, and without Alicent not being like right away, like, hey, we're not just going to go kill Rhaenyra right now, you know? If it would have been Otto, I guess, I don't know who Rhaenys' counterpart was, but if it would have been like Otto and Daemon, they'd already be in full bloodshed right now.
She makes a comment, I don't want to be queen of ashes and bone, and I think similar things are said about Dany, and then or like in regards to Dany, or Dany says that stuff, and it's like it's true. Why are men so quick to act and like hasty with things? I really like that point that you made about the restraint that all three of those displayed, and how that has really carved like the path that the story has taken, because you're right, if it were men calling the shots, then it would already be like over. An all-out war where all the dragons burned each other down.
Yikes. Otto?
Get out.
Showing
This
up?
is a blacks only episode. Get out.
No one invited
fucking
you.
likes you. He's just too much like Peter B. He's Peter B adjacent.
Yeah. Except Peter B has like a little more flair, and Otto just has a little more like flop.
Yeah, he's a little more flop. He's a little more like grungy, musky. I don't appreciate him. If I ever see that actor, it's gonna be like he can never do anything else after this, because he just left a bitter taste in my mouth.
Yeah, it's on
I hope he dies. I hope he dies next season.
I hope so too. Oh my god. And I did love Damon demanding his head right then and there. I was like, Damon,
Yes.
that would have sent a message, which I would have appreciated. I do understand Rhaenyra's logic in that moment, but Damon, I was kind of like, I like the way you're thinking right here. But Katie, because you have been saying from the beginning that Alicent and Rhaenyra, they love each other. Not just friends. They love each other. And what do you think about Alicent keeping that page that they ripped out from the little book back when they were young girlies, and giving it to Otto to take to Rhaenyra to be like, hey, do you remember like our times in the meadow reading?
I will tell you that is the gayest shit I've ever seen in my entire life. You don't keep a page in a book that a girl ripped out for you. And also, that's in my fucking movie. And my movie is super gay. So obviously I had that note written down. I was like, oh, they're copying me again. Yeah, no, I stand by what I said. I think that there is some sapphic qualities about their connection. But also it could be Otto being fucking pervy. He could have known the significance of that page and been a sneaky, slimy little scoundrel, done something, but I don't think that's true. But I did love Rhaenyra riding up on his ass with her dragon, where he's like, where is Princess Rhaenyra? And she just like comes in, right here, motherfucker.
It's Queen Rhaenyra to you. Yeah, so we see Otto give her, which also then Damon, when he was like, your sons will be cupbearers and whatever, and Damon's like, are you actually fucking joking me? Like, I will legitimately slice your dick off right here and here, Otto.
Do you feel like he's overstepping? Like, what are your feelings about Damon not letting Rhaenyra speak and kind of making all these decisions, or like when they get news about, the Greens like arriving, he just gives the orders right away about what they're doing. And then even when Rhaenyra is like giving birth to earlier, like we were talking about, how he's taking command of everything, and she says like, don't let him do anything, like I give final command. Like, what are your feelings about all of that power struggle that we see them have this episode?
I think it makes sense. I don't think, like, obviously Damon is not a submissive character, so I don't think it would have made sense if, like, in every single interaction or in, like, planning meetings that he would always just, like, automatically defer to Rhaenyra. I do like that at least she does get her, like, she does speak, like, he doesn't shut her down. It's just more he always jumps in with his view first. Right. And I don't think either of their views of the situation are wrong. Like, neither is wrong and neither is right. They're both just looking at the situation from two different points of view. And I do think that for Damon, he's older, he has battle experience, he's seen more in terms of enemies, I guess, where Rhaenyra, even though she's grown up by her father's side and like been named heir and had to like face the adversity of being named his heir as being a woman, she hasn't had to outright deal with traitors directly, or enemies, or people attacking her, or people trying to undermine. Can you hear him? Dorian.
Is that Dory? It sounded like Arya.
More dealt with like sly chess moves, where Damon's dealt with like explosions. So I think in his mind, he's looking at this being like, we need to act. And also, he's just much more bloodthirsty than Viserys is. And he even said like, oh, you're so much like your father, like you're Viserys' daughter. That I think he looks at winning a war with bloodshed, and Rhaenyra is looking at it trying to save the most amount of lives that she can with the least amount of conflict to keep peace for as long as possible, where he's more like, I'm right, like your claim is right, they're wrong, and we're gonna get it back no matter the cost.
Right.
Where she's like, we don't want to cost, like, what's the weight of like peace versus like what's right. So yeah, I don't like him talking in and jumping and getting his 2 cents in before her, but I do think it makes sense, and at least she always does get to kind of like come in and be like, actually no, this is what we're going to do.
Again, yeah, going back to what we've been saying, like it's on brand for the character, and I think it just, moments like that where he is overstepping makes moments where he's like, my queen, being submissive to her, or not submissive, but like bending the knee and acknowledging her as this badass bitch. It makes those moments all the more satisfying, I think, because these are 2 very like headstrong individuals, and they have been since we were first introduced to them. And I think this finale episode, having them, this is like the biggest power struggle we've seen them have, but I think it's all been building up to this, and I think it works really well. And it's such a dynamic and interesting relationship. Like we see this intense like power struggle, but then also this like partnership and like love between them. And I don't know, it's cool. Really congrats to the actors for pulling off what they were able to pull off, because I think it's really well done, and I love their relationship.
I love their relationship, and it would be boring if Damon just sat there and agreed with whatever she said.
Right.
You know, that's not the kind of relationship that they've ever had. That's not the kind of person that he is. I think it works better in Rhaenyra's favor, actually, to have that voice right there trying to, I don't know, like having a counter argument.
Yeah,
to
and
hers,
it
'cause
challenges her and
Yeah.
pushes her to her full potential.
Yeah.
He always has, because without Damon, I don't think she would be Queen Rhaenyra. He has helped her become what she is.
If Laenor was her husband right now, I don't see them really trying to make a go for the crown. I don't think Rhaenyra would do it. I don't know. It's hard to say. I do think that Damon's going to be the person that she needs by her side to fight, because if that's one thing that he knows how to do, it's how to fight. So I think she needs that, and he needs her to balance out. Like they do need that balance for each other. You can't have all peace and you can't have all bloodshed.
I want to take back what I said. I think he doesn't make her who she is, but I think he brings out the best in her as far as like a ruler.
So while we're on the topic of Daemon and Rhaenyra, because we're kind of like from them making those table decisions together, and when they're going back and forth, and Rhaenyra says, clear the room, and then we have a little moment by the fireplace that
I thought about you.
Did you?
I thought about you. How
In what kind of way?
About it?
What kind of way?
When he choked her, I thought about you.
I was like, oh, bitch. Okay, here we go.
Loves choking moments.
Well, so I was talking with Jess, if you're listening to this, hi. She's another booktuber, and she also is obsessed with Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. She also has a cat named Arya, Lilas. She was asking about this moment, or like we were talking about this moment in particular, and I was like, well, I grew up loving Anakin Skywalker, and look what he did to Padme. So clearly,
the forced choke.
Here's the thing, obviously, like that's not good. I don't like condone it, but once again, he's morally gray. He's going to do fucked up things, and it was fucked up that he choked her. And like, I'm not gonna sit here and defend that, but am I also like, oh my god, he's just like the worst person ever and blah blah blah? No, this is not the worst thing that he's done. It's not the worst thing that he's going to do. I still think that he has a love and respect for Rhaenyra. I think obviously in that moment his anger and frustration at her, at Viserys, at himself, like all took over in that moment, and he choked her. But once again, it's not the worst thing that this man is gonna do.
It happened in the show, and we're here to talk about it. Keep your opinions to your fucking self. Like, we obviously don't condone people choking other people, but
yeah, like in real life, like Katie, if I found out like if it's consensual choking, then pop off.
Yeah, which
but
this probably wasn't, but
yeah, this wasn't. And once again,
we don't know their relationship. We don't know everything that goes on.
Well, and I'm not gonna sit here and defend that, but also it's like if you want to sit here and like get mad about that, then fine, be mad about it. I'm not gonna sit here and argue with someone over the fact of like, oh my god, if someone's like, she needs to leave him, it's like, that's not what this world is right now, okay? I'm not getting into that. But yeah, it was fucked up. We're gonna keep moving forward, and I still fuck with Damon, so I don't know. What did you think about it?
The choke?
Like, yeah, it wasn't, yeah.
I mean, was I like, yay, gung-ho choke? No, but I was, again, it's not out of character. That's all I have to say about it.
And if you thought it was out of character, you have been romanticizing him too much. Because he's not the, like, beautiful, supportive, kind-hearted, gentle partner to Rhaenyra that maybe you, like, imagined him as being. Like, no.
I think, yeah, you're right. I think people are used to seeing problematic men or abusive, borderline abusive, whatever, overly aggressive, whatever the fuck you want to call it, men in media having this like turnaround story where they are changed by a woman and made to be more gentler, consensual, and less problematic. But that's not what they're trying to do here. That's not what they are doing here. So like, that's not what this is.
No one's like sitting here defending him for choking her. It's just, I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, I'm completely, like, we saw him kill his first wife with a brick, so
literally,
I'm not surprised that he choked Rhaenyra for a hot sec.
Yeah, he's keeping us on our toes. Like, who fucking knows? He's a loose cannon. This power struggle, like, who knows what's gonna happen with that next season with all of these other factors going on. It's good television, period.
It is.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. It's not out of character whatsoever. I'm more wondering if some of the showrunners have very different ideas of the characters, because, so, like, the one showrunner had said that, like, Daemon doesn't have, like, a thirst for power. He just, like, loves Rhaenyra, loves Viserys, just wants to, like, be around his family, that kind of thing. But then, like, one of the writers was talking, she's like, Daemon's, like, she's like, I can't believe people are loving this character. Like, all he wants is power, and he'll do whatever he can to get there. So I'm like, y'all kind of need to get on the same page about that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of a big deal. Like, granted, everyone can have different interpretations, but if a showrunner and a writer have, like, two completely different versions of a character that's, like, a very important character, y'all kind of got to figure that out.
Yeah, and it's kind of both sides could be true at this point.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think he's just, like, instinctive and, like, a natural born leader, so that's why he always moves to speak. But, like, I'll be interested to see how things play out. But yeah, I definitely think that's a good point, that they might not all be on the same page about the direction that his character's going, at least.
Yeah. One of my favorite moments that Daemon had this whole episode, again, the cinematography in this episode is just absolutely insane. Some of the best, I think, that this show and Game of Thrones, like, ever had. When he goes to sing to Vermithor, and he's singing in High Valyrian, like, chills down my entire body. That moment was insane.
Yeah, that wide shot of him coming up the stairs in, like, the center of the screen was one of my favorites of the entire episode. Just the lighting with, like, the flame that he was carrying and how he was able to stay so still when the dragons were, like, coming out. Loved that sequence, and again, excited to see where that's gonna go. I will say, I feel like a lot of the budget was devoted to the final sequence of this episode, which we will get into, because in some moments, like when Rhaenyra was sending off her sons, the CGI.
I don't think I noticed.
It was so tragic. It looked like 1970s, like, green screen. I was appalled. And it, like, hers, the reverse shot, like, on Rhaenyra, it looked fine, but when it would go back to the boys, I was like, this looks like something from the 1980s, bitch. Oh my god.
I noticed that.
But then the last sequence, I was like, all right, I'll forget about that.
Oh my god, right? Oh,
I love when Corlys comes back into the mix.
Yeah.
I think that is awesome when he says the narrow sea is ours. I love that moment.
Yes.
Chills when he finally secured the stepstones. Like, bitch, come on. We've been waiting for that this whole season. Also in the choke scene, going back to that, when Rhaenyra kind of comes at Daemon and it's like, oh, he never told you, did he, about the Song of Ice and Fire, Aegon's dream prediction. I just think that was definitely, like, a shot to the heart and something that she said to really hurt him, because again, it goes back to that point about Daemon's character, how he does really value Viserys and his opinion of him, and, like, wanting to be brother, and, like, that's his family and wanting to be close to him or whatever. And I think Rhaenyra knew that would kind of cut a little bit deep to find out that he didn't tell him something very important that that he would only tell the person that he would think would be the next in line for his throne. Back to Corlys and Rhaenys like advocating for Rhaenyra while he's like fighting for his life on his bed. And then like the family moment where Jace, you know, offers to fly to the allies to remind them of their oaths and all this stuff. And just like this family coming together and being like, yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna like protect your claim.
Yeah, you really see him. I mean, you see both boys growing up in this episode, but especially Jace, you know, from going to go see his mom when she's in labor and her telling him like, you are now that I'm queen, you are my heir. If you say something, like nothing's gonna go without us two approving it, you know, and sending him down and for him to stand up to Daemon and how Daemon was kind of like, you little bitch. Yeah, shows he's a man now.
Oh, I knew something bad was gonna happen to little Lukey. Yeah. I just had a feeling. You can tell that he's her favorite. She's got a soft spot for him. And, like, this episode did so much for Rhaenyra's character, but, like, it really showed what type of mom she is. And just the way, like, we watch her go through this intense agony and battle for her to give birth to her child. And then, like, the heartbreak that she has when she loses that child. And just the way she handles the burial of that child all herself. Like, she doesn't let anybody else touch the baby's corpse. Like, that just really shows how seriously she takes her job as a mom. And you just see how much care and love she has for all of her kids and Luke, like, especially. And so it just really makes this ending sequence pack a major punch, which I love.
I think, you know how they always said, like, there's nothing that Cersei loves more than her kids. I never, like, felt that love from her. I felt that love from Rhaenyra to her kids.
They are above everything else. Whereas I think with Cersei, like, she loved power more than her kids. I think that's, like, there's no question about that. But when she is met with the terms that Otto comes to her with about, you know, you guys can have the stepstones and let Aegon be king, whatever. The only reason why she's considering it is because she wants her kids to be safe. They are offered, like, immunity and protection. I think also, you know, she wants, like, as little bloodshed as possible and wants to maintain the peace and all that stuff. But I think if there is going to be some sort of downfall for Rhaenyra as a queen, I think the kids are going to be, like, her Achilles heel. And we'll see what happens, you know, how she acts as a result to Luke's death, but I don't know.
Burn it all down, bitch.
How did you feel when Aemond was chilling in the lobby? I don't think that's what it's called, but I'm just gonna call it the lobby of the castle.
Okay, so I do kind of love him. I know I'm not supposed to. I'm still very much Team Black all the way. Yeah. But however, I'm very intrigued by Aemond, and also then when he grabbed that dagger out, like, first of all, you're crazy. But second, then when he did the little twirly twirl and, like, tucked it away, I was kind of like, okay, so I don't know how to feel about this. But if I was Luke and I showed up and I would have seen Vhagar chilling there bigger than any building around, hell fucking no. I'm gone. Like, I understand that he knew, like, the terms of, like, that a guest can arrive and, you know, like, kind of like with Otto on the bridge, you know, like, it's the guest rules. Like, they can arrive and leave unharmed to, like, hear terms. So I get it. That Luke was like, okay, well, I can still go inside and see this fucking another Baratheon flop. Oh, as soon as I saw Vhagar, that was like chills. And then when you saw Aemond inside, it was like, this is not gonna be good. This is not gonna be good.
His blue
it was like a genuine
eye.
Feeling of dread. Oh. I kind of dig it. It's like,
it's
that makes you hotter.
It's crazy how much older he looks than Luke and even Jace.
Because then I looked up how old that actor is. That actor is, like, quite literally 20 or like 22 or something. I thought that he is genuinely, like, our age or older.
They're probably planning on having him, like, play that character for
long term
the next season, whereas I feel like Jace's actor is going to change at the beginning of next season.
You think so?
Yeah, I think he's going to be like a man.
Yeah. And I like the actor who's playing Aegon. Like, I like him. I hope that they don't recast him. And I think he, like, looks older. So yeah, just that shot again was, like, so chilling though of Vhagar pulling up. That again, the cinematography in that moment was amazing. What do you think about the Baratheon flop not knowing how to read?
That's tragic. If you're going to have a castle, you should learn how to read.
It's not like you're, like, working in a brothel and like you're just trying to live day by day.
Yeah.
Like you
On
have
brand
time
though,
to
once
learn how to
again,
read.
on brand for the Baratheons.
Actually, I kind of forgot about this, but it's more like I didn't make a note because I think I was like so excited. Back earlier when they were talking about back in Dragonstone, when they were pulling out all the pieces, you know, to like assemble on the board, they were talking about all the people and they're talking about like the Starks and even like the Baratheons. It's like all these names that like we know and we are excited to hear. And how they're like a Stark has never been known to like break an oath. And it's like, yes, our Starks. Did you like get that? I got like a rush, I feel like, hearing all those names again.
Yeah, I did too. I loved when they were like, if we get the Starks, the rest of the North will follow. It's like, it really does show how hard these houses have worked to like maintain their reputation, and it makes a lot of the actions taken in the original Game of Thrones make a lot of sense. Also, the fact that the Lannisters are on the wrong side of history, of fucking course. Yeah, not surprised. Siding with the Greens, you nasty wasty little mother effers. Yes, I'm excited to see the familiar houses kind of like come together again.
Yeah, back to the scene there. So obviously the Baratheon is like, yeah, your uncle or whatever, your cousin, whoever thought Aemond offered better terms than you brought forward. So like, go ahead and leave. And obviously Aemond trying to get his eyeball in there, and the Baratheon flop being like, no blood on my floor, please. Like, I did like that at least he was like, hey, can someone like escort Luke back out to his dragon? Like, okay, thanks for that.
Yeah, he's like, get out of my house, you bitch boy. And it's raining. It's basically a freaking tornado watch. The dragon seems a little spooked by the lightning. I don't think he wants to fly in the rain. It's just all bad circumstances. It doesn't look good. You know, the only reason why you start spending so much time with the side character is because they're probably gonna die. So I'm just like not hopeful for Luke at this point. He takes off on his puny little dragon and is telling the dragon to focus. And this abyss that he is flying in, I was chilled to the bone. There's like a legitimate term for the fear of like big things in the dark. Have you heard about that? It's like some type of phobia, but it's like if a big ass whale just like appeared in the water, like that type of shit, you know? When this big ass fucking dragon just appears.
That shot of Vhagar flying above the Luke, and I'm forgetting what Luke's dragon's name is, but that shot, again, one of the best shots of this entire episode, this entire season, Game of Thrones in general. Like, that shot was absolutely beautiful, and you're seeing in that moment, you're like, Luke literally stands no chance. Not a single chance.
This like huge, with the lightning, like the flashing of the light going in and out, you just know what are the times the dragon's gonna be there. Oh, it's so good.
Imagine how much budget went to that. Probably what you were saying with the earlier CGI, like they were like, we got to put all of our coin into this.
Yes.
Okay, so we obviously have we have Vhagar eating Luke and Luke's dragon. There's like so much to say about the scene and like so many layers to it. I genuinely don't think that Aemond intended to kill Luke.
No, absolutely
not. With the choice that the show made, it appears that way. I know in the books it was like that Aemond meant to kill him, but in this they decided to change that a little bit, which I think is great. I think it's much more interesting for his character to have done something and actually shown like regret right then and there.
Yeah.
And I don't think that, I truly think that Aemon way overestimated his ability to control Vhagar in that moment. And Aemond is seeing it as like this kind of chase sequence, just trying to scare Luke, threaten him, you know, send him back to his mom, like a little freaked out, you know, whatever. Forgetting that Vhagar is literally like, how many years old and has been to battle, like over and over and over again. Like, this is like a battle dragon. So that's what this dragon is seeing it as. And then you have Luke, who has like never been to battle, never had to like do any kind of fighting. We've seen that he's like shit at combat too. Like, this boy just does not know how to fight at all. And he's just trying to escape. And his poor little baby dragon has never been to battle. So of course it's scared. It's sensing Luke's fear. So yeah, it like breathes fire on Vhagar, but not like purposely once again. And I just truly think that both of the boys overestimated their dragons in that moment of like how much they could control them, which we had earlier on in the show, episodes back, when Viserys said like, we don't control the dragons. And like, if people realize that, like things would change. This like only drove that point home even more, that they don't control the dragons.
Yeah, at the end of the day, they're impulsive creatures who like have autonomy over themselves, and we saw that with Danny's character too. So they're always going to be unstable and a little bit unpredictable. So you gotta, again, keep people on their toes. I definitely don't think Aemond meant to kill Luke, because I think he knows what that means. Like the Greens have now made the first kind of attack. Aemond knows what he did. He's not dumb, and he realizes the consequences of and the fallout that that's going to bring. So I think definitely a face-off between Daemon and Aemond is afoot, because I think Daemon is going to like defend his queen and his love, get vengeance for her. I am highly, highly, highly anticipating that face-off. Again, it's on brand, like boys and men and like young inexperienced children acting on impulse. I think Aemond wanted to get back at Luke for being mistreated in his childhood, and be like, I got this big bad dragon now, like fuck you bro for making fun of me and giving me a pig for a dragon, fuck you for like making me lose my eye, like I'm trying to get your eye back, whatever. They lost control over their dragons, and now shit is super fucked, and Lukey got chomped, RIP.
When he breaks through that clearing too, and it's like, oh look, like he's out of the storm, you knew that was not gonna last for a damn second. And then sad. To be honest, I was more sad to see the little baby dragon get chomped in half, because that's just how I am. But also
he didn't want to be there.
No, I had said earlier in the episode, Daemon's relationship with his dragon, like I think that's what Aemond thinks that he has, or like how Rhaenyra has that relationship with her dragon, how Dany had that relationship with Drogon. Like there is an element of control with those. Overall, like you can't control them. They're animals.
Did you see a TikTok that kind of like spoils the ending for Rhaenyra?
No. Did you see one?
Yes, it's a clip from the original Game of Thrones.
Is it when Joffrey's talking to Sansa? Okay, so I haven't seen that, but I know exactly what you're talking about, because someone was like, I'm going to show this clip, and it was like that, and I like immediately scrolled. So
yeah, I just wanted to see if you saw it, and if you haven't, warn you that if you ever see a clip of Joffrey like talking, skip it.
So does it go in detail?
He says like what happens to her.
Does Aegon kill her?
That he just says like how this story plays out, basically.
So what characters does he talk about? Like how Rhaenyra and Daemon and all of them?
He talks about Aegon and Rhaenyra and Jace.
Do I want to know?
I don't think you should. You should try and hold out as long as you can without getting it spoiled. Here's what I think I could see happening is Game of Thrones is like, yes, this is what went down in history, but this is what actually happened.
I gotcha.
That's what I,
because they've kind of done that already. Because it said that like the Fire and Blood is like a historical text from like maesters and things. So it's not like this is what happened. It's what these people have heard, what their interpretation of history is. Yeah. So that would be interesting. Okay, that final shot that we get of Daemon coming into the room. No sound is needed. We know exactly what is happening right now in this moment. And seeing him grab Rhaenyra's hand and kind of pull her away from the table, and her kind of like gut punch forward a little bit, and then her turn around and give that final look into the camera, giving us Dany Alla after seeing Missandei beheaded.
Also, Katniss Everdeen finding out about District 12 being firebombed. Yes. That end up catching fire.
Yes. Thoughts on that final sequence?
Incredible. Perfect last shot. Perfect way to end the season and get us excited for season 2, period. Like now, literally anything could happen. Is she going to continue holding out restraint? Is she going to burn bitches to the ground? Like, what is going to happen? What is she going to do?
I support any and all crimes she commits moving forward after that, because she really did everything that she could. She showed as much restraint as she could. That's first blood. They pulled it. And yeah, and I do think in that moment, Aemond was thinking like, oh shit. That right there is the catalyst of every single event to follow.
Alicent and Otto are going to rip into his ass.
I did see the one, like Twitter just always kills it after these episodes, but of that like little alien standing in the corner of the room that's always used for like when you throw up in the middle of the night, and it's like Aemond returning home after killing Luke.
Yeah. I pissed the bed. Death
Girlies.
I shit the bed, Tassie.
Season 2, anything, I mean, obviously we don't know what's coming, but anything that you're looking for or like hoping to see in season 2?
I'm definitely looking and hoping to see a Rhaenyra and Alicent face off. I think I can see the kind of being like a penultimate episode situation or a finale episode situation in season 2, where the entire season is them duking it out and kind of being two brains behind like operations, and all of this fallout happens, and then they're in a room alone together somehow at the end of the season. I think that would just be incredible, and to kind of like face each other, and I'm sure like more of their kids will die in the process, who fucking knows. But yes, can't wait for that face off. Just lots of face offs. Will Lenore come back into the mix? Like, that's a potential thing. Would love to see Otto die. I hate that bitch in some satisfying way. If not, season 2, season 3 would probably be good for that.
Sir Kristen Cole as well, please.
Yeah, bye.
Execute yourself.
I want to see Jace's reaction to his brother's death. I want to see what this does for his character. I think there's going to be a lot of character development and character shifting as a result of this Luke death. What's going to happen to the girl he was betrothed to, like all this stuff.
Yeah. I think it's hard seeing like kind of the first big casualty of this war be someone that's so innocent like Luke, and seeing what that's gonna do to everyone else. Because if it would have been someone like Otto, or even like let's say like Daemon or something, like if Daemon would have been the first blood draw, like I think people would have been affected. But I think it's like, okay, well, he's not like an innocent kid like Luke is. Yes, I'm looking forward to all the same things that you just said. One thing that I have literally no idea how it plays out, I've just seen people who love the books be so excited that Cregan Stark was mentioned in his character and that he's like amazing. So I'm looking forward to that and having like a Stark in the mix. I'm looking forward to kind of exploring, you know, some of the other houses, getting some other, because obviously like this is Targaryen history, but seeing Jace off with the other houses trying to like recruit people, I'm looking forward to seeing some of those as well. I'm very excited, and it's so hard to think that we have to wait until literally 2024.
Yeah, that is super fucking botched, but it is what it fucking is.
Okay, so you know how we did our big Game of Thrones rewatch? We are now going to be moving into rewatching Pretty Little Liars. We're going to be breaking that down half season by half season because they're long seasons. They're 24 episodes for the most part, so we're going to be breaking them down half by half.
Yesterday was like the 10-year anniversary of them finding out that Allie is still alive.
Wow.
I know. Since I am the resident gay on this podcast, I would like to plug a show, a women who love women show. It's called High School. It's on Freevee, which is like Amazon's free streaming platform. It's about Tegan and Sarah, the music sister duo. If y'all have heard of Tegan and Sarah, they're obviously like famous singers. They're identical twins, both gay girlies. The show High School is about their origin story and them becoming a band, and also them like coming out. It's super good. I am like a huge advocate for shows that have representation like this. They get canceled after the first season a lot, so tune in to Freevee to watch it because we don't want this one to get canceled because it's really good. Clara Duvall fucking directed, produced, like she's the showrunner on it, which she did Happiest Season. So it's great.
Oh yeah.
It's really, really good. That's it. They shot it at the high school that they went to, which I think is super dope.
Lilas. Love that. Sadly, no more GOT coverage until 2024, babes.
Hey, we have snow coming out though.
True. Is that going to be before House of Dragon?
I don't know.
So
any GOT content we will cover episode by episode from now on. You have our word, girly pops.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
I think just Game of Thrones, Euphoria, it all just falls into like, no matter how good or bad it is, we will be covering
cover.
HBO. HBO hoes.
Honestly.
We should rebrand and just be HBO hoes instead of Popcorn Chats.
Sponsor us, HBO. We love your shows.
Yes.
Please and thank you.
It's like the only ones we like.
True.
We
honestly
fucking hate all the other shows.
I literally don't watch anything else besides reality TV and HBO shows. So.
Reality shows and HBO hoes. All right.
I love
Let's be done.
All right, Lilas.